Police officer under arrest tonight accused of beating up his wife during a fight.
Police officer was arrested yesterday and now facing felony charges stemming from a domestic incident with his girlfriend of 2 years.
Plantation Detective Matthew Schechter, a cop for nearly a decade, the police report states he made sexual advances toward his wife after a night out. When he was turned down, he allegedly lost it, punching her, beating her, allegedly continued striking her approximately 6 times in the face, causing her contact lens to fall out of her eye. Police say her son hears the noise and calls his father to dial 911. Schechter, at one point named Officer of the Month, has now been...
He was Officer of the Month? Who would have guessed it? You guys know about the officer promotion scheme, right? If this piggy right here gets accused of violating someone's rights and they make a complaint and sue him, he gets promoted within 12 months. Law enforcement officers beat their significant other at nearly double the national average. Several studies, according to Diane Wettendorf, author of Police Domestic Violence Handbooks for Victims, indicate that women suffer domestic abuse in at least 40% of police officer families. For American women overall, the figure is 25%, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention.
Police officer under arrest tonight accused of beating up his wife during a fight.
Well, basically what this boils down to is someone had some video of this officer dancing with another woman, not his wife. Those two got into a fight. She got hurt. He wound up in jail. Take a look.
Sir, you were arrested for aggravated battery.
Relieved of duty, but with pay. Miami-Dade police officer.
But with pay. How many people here, put a 1 in the chat, if you got caught beating your wife, if your job would suspend you with pay? Put a 1 in the chat if that would not happen. If you would not get suspended with pay. Put a 2 in the chat if you would get arrested and fired with no pay.
Sir Alexander Bradley accused of beating his wife of 7 years. Stitches for her eyes, injuries to her mouth and nose, conditions for bond complicated for a police officer.
What about this requirement with the gun? Is it unless you're at work?
Your Honor, at this point, the state is requesting that the defendant not use or possess any firearm.
All of this because after attending a comedy show with friends, one of the wives showed Officer Bradley's wife video of her 6'2" husband dancing with another woman.
Oh, you were dancing with another woman? Dancing? Oh.
Dancing inappropriately, the police report reads.
Inappropriately. You were having a good time with another person, and I'm so insecure that I'm going to beat you even though you already married me.
Officer Bradley ordered out of the home, stay away from wife and children.
You may return to the victim's residence one time only within 48 hours of entry of the order, accompanied by a police officer.
Cop's got to take a cop to where he beat his wife.
To retrieve your personal clothing, health items, medication.
This is Officer Alexander Bradley's mugshot. The 28-year-old is charged with aggravated battery. He says he was only defending himself as his wife was the attacker.
Can you do a close-up of his injuries, please?
Bradley claims he was scratched by his wife.
Defensive wounds.
Several children.
I'm the one that's responsible for taking them to school in the morning, so...
Oh, you are, Copper? You take the kids to school in the morning and then you go out on the road and you terrorize people, you ruin people's lives, you jackboot thug pig.
You're going to have to work something else out. I'm allowing third-party contact for exchange of the children for time sharing.
Well,
you see the judge? Look at the look in her eyes. She doesn't trust that pig either.
Contact for exchange of the children for time sharing.
Well, the officer has bonded out of jail. By the way, he coaches his daughter's little league team. He can still do that, but he has to stay 100 feet away from his daughter. That's the very latest. I'm Hank Tester, CBS
I guess she goes.
News.
It's just a few bad apples, though. It's just a few bad apples. It's just a few.
On the side of the law, he has now been arrested, and today he went before a judge. That officer facing domestic battery charges.
He's accused of brutally beating his wife, and Local 10 News reporter Andrew Perez is live outside the jail in Fort Lauderdale. Andrew.
You know, reading through that police report, the details of this case are just very disturbing. This officer, he is behind bars right now. A judge giving him a $20,000 bond.
I do find probable cause.
Plantation Detective Matthew Schechter, a cop for nearly a decade, facing a judge. His charges are serious.
1 count of domestic battery by strangulation and count 2.
By strangulation. Domestic battery. This ogre right here got on top of a woman and strangled her.
The police report detailing how he allegedly left his wife battered and bruised. It happened in the couple's home in Coral Springs. Police finding the victim badly injured. The police report states he made sexual advances toward his wife after a night out. When he was turned down, he allegedly lost it, punching her, beating her, allegedly continued striking her approximately 6 times in the face, causing her contact lens to fall out of her eye.
Take it in. Continued striking her 6 times in the face. That dude right there punched a woman in the face 6 times. Drunk. Tried to get down, make love. She said, So he punched her in the face 6 times.
Approximately 6 times in the face, causing her contact lens to fall out of her eye. She says she then pretended to pass out and waited for him to fall asleep, then slipped to the floor, grabbed her phone to call police. While crawling toward the door, she says he stopped her and yelled, "You're not calling the cops."
You're not calling the cops on me. She should have a 3 out of 5 chance of getting a cop who might care, but she has a 2 out of 5 chance of getting a cop that will totally be on the cop's side because he beats his wife too.
Closed the door, locked it, choking and beating her some more. Police say her son hears the noise and calls his father to dial 911. Schechter, at one point named Officer of the Month, has now been suspended.
What? He was Officer of the Month? Who would have guessed it? You guys know about the officer promotion scheme, right? If this piggy right here gets accused of violating someone's rights and they make a complaint and sue him, he gets promoted within 12 months. If he kills somebody, he gets promoted within 12 months. Pig.
According to the chief of Plantation Police.
Plantation Police? I mean, they're not hiding it, are they?
Jeffrey Warden in uniform at an Albuquerque police station. Little did he know this was about to happen.
So let me give you a little backlog here. The wife, the girlfriend of this guy, she had endeared herself to different police. She was a real copsucker. But she made friends with these other cops. And when this copper went bananas and beat her senseless and bloodied and blacked her face, the other coppers who she had endeared herself to...
Be removing your gun belt. Okay.
Arrested while on the job.
We have a warrant for your arrest.
A man whose job it was to protect and to serve. Now disgraced. Wharton was arrested by Rio Rancho police after a domestic violence incident with a woman who lives with him at his Rio Rancho home. The criminal complaint says doorbell camera video captures a violent struggle between the woman and Wharton in February. Her mother brought her to the hospital. The complaint says doctors found a brain bleed, gashes and bruises on her face.
Gashes and bruises. They never talk like this for you or I, but because it's a pig's wife and because it's a pig and the pig's getting disrespected by the other pigs, gashes and bruises. When it happens to you, the perpetrator was being detained. Put a 1 in the chat if you know what I'm talking about.
Says doctors found a brain bleed.
A brain bleed.
Gashes and bruises.
Gashes and bruises. Not for you or me, though. Perpetrator was being restrained, being detained properly by police within policy and procedure.
On her face and red markings across the front of her neck, consistent with markings caused by strangulation. Now Jeffrey's uniform, his APD badge cut off.
Yeah, the other pigs
ripped
didn't like
away
him.
from his body while locked in cuffs.
In cuffs. Boy, this reporter, I wonder if she goes all out like this for people who are wrongfully beaten and cheated, raped, killed, murdered by the cops.
I do want to give you the opportunity to talk to us and tell us your side of the story. Do you want to take that opportunity?
Not after hearing that, no.
You plead the Fifth Amendment. You say, I plead the Fifth Amendment. It's just a few bad
Also
apples.
developing at noon, a Miramar
bad
police
apples.
officer under arrest.
He's facing pretty serious charges, including kidnapping and battery. Local 10 News reporter Roy Ramos is live. He's outside the jail in Fort Lauderdale with the details. Roy.
Christy and Janice, he was just hired with the department in December of last year, so he's only been with them for about 5 months or so. But he has since been relieved of his police duties pending the outcome of this investigation. Let's go ahead and show you what he looks like. You're looking at the mugshot of 26-year-old Joshua Bugwandas. He is the Miramar.
Looks like a real nice guy. Looks like a really nice person. Just remember, this guy would come in and the judge would believe this guy over you, and he beats women. You understand that? Like, you only have one thing to do. Just don't hit her, bro. Just don't hit her, dude. You can do whatever you want. Put a hole in the wall. You can do whatever you want, but you can't hit her, dude. That's the rule. You can't hit her. This guy, the judge's word, the judge would say that he believes this woman beat her over you.
Our police officer who was arrested yesterday and now facing felony charges stemming from a domestic incident with his girlfriend of 2 years. In the arrest warrant we obtained, it states Joshua and his girlfriend got into an argument after she said she noticed a text message from his ex-girlfriend.
You saw that text message? Get down. Smack, 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 smack. Shut. Get out of my text messages.
Victim told police after the two picked up their children from her mother's home.
Oh, snap. He's got kids and he's texting his ex, brother. Yeah, come on, man.
A night out with friends that included
his night out included drinking
and smoking marijuana
and smoking chemical.
They went back to their Miramar home. When she refused to speak with him about the text messages, Joshua allegedly straddled her, pinned her to the bed, and then began to choke her.
Typical jackboot. Can you put that in the comment for me? JBTP. Hashtag JBTP. Jackboot Thug Piggy. He's a jackboot thug pig.
She said she was able to get free, but she was chased down and then pulled back into their home. She called 911 and Joshua was arrested by Miramar police later that day. The Miramar police chief reacting to the arrest with this statement they read in part. The arrest illustrates the department's commitment to enforcing.
You can't gloss over things. This arrest illustrates the department's commitment to enforcing the law without favor. Then how come the most women of all relationships that get beat in, why they're getting beat in by the cops if you guys are enforcing the law without favor? We encourage all victims of police beating their wives to come forward without fear, knowing that we take these matters of cops beating their wives very seriously.
All victims of domestic violence to come forward without fear, knowing that we take these matters seriously. An administrative investigation is also underway. Now, in that arrest affidavit, it also states that the victim did suffer some injuries to her face that included lacerations and scratches. She also had bruises to her arm.
He beat her up. Cop beat up his wife. Don't worry, though. It's just a few bad apples.
Joshua, he is expected to face a judge at some point today. We'll be sure to let you know what happens.